From the banks of Dewey Lake, it's the Dewey Pod Monster.
All right, welcome back. My name is John, and this is the Dewey Pod Monster podcast. This is a weekly podcast about consumption. We are, of course, proud members of the Run Podcast Network. You can find all of our old episodes, all of our new episodes, and all the other great shows on the Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com. With me this week is the host of the Dewey Pod Monster podcast. His name is Sean. And Sean, how are you doing today?
John, guess what? Not even supposed to be here today.
Wow. Oh, shit. I got it wrong.
Crud.
Crud, shit. All these things I'm sure are going to come up again. But before we get to that, Sean, what have you been watching this week?
That's a great question. It was a bit of a struggle to watch other things this week. I watched WrestleMania, or some people might call it WrestleLamia. I watched both nights of WrestleMania.
I heard this year was pretty not great.
Yeah, I don't even have anything to say about it. It was just like, it's been the downward trajectory of the last few years for me. It's been there's just something missing. I'm sure that it has a lot to do with like the commercialization and TKO buying WWE and, you know, all the stuff that they do and all the ads that they inject in it. But it just, I don't know what it is. It's like there's just something that I can't put my finger on what it is that's missing from it, but it just feels like it's blatant when the wrestlers now talk to each other to tell them the spots that they're going to do, or I watched the main event for Sunday was CM Punk and Roman Reigns. And I think maybe it's that I don't watch. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't really watch the show on a weekly basis. I really only watch a couple of the big events. If I figure that it's on, like, oh yeah, this thing's on. And I didn't even really realize that it was going to be on this weekend or the weekend that, you know, after we're recording or before that we're recording until my friend was like, hey, are you going to come over and watch it? And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. But I don't know who any of the wrestlers are. I don't care who they are. I don't know the gimmick. And that you would think that almost like detaches you from everything. But yeah, I think it's just like the over commercialization. I guess they were showing ads during entrances of wrestlers this year. CM Punk, Roman Reigns. Yeah, I don't care about either of these guys. I don't like Roman Reigns. I really don't like CM Punk. I don't like Cody Rhodes. I mean, I guess I like him the most, which isn't saying much out of any of the main eventers that were on. I guess Randy Orton's okay. But I don't know. It was just something was missing, and it was just kind of, I don't know, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. And honestly, I've only been watching the WrestleManias again for the last, this may be the third or fourth year that I've watched it in a row.
Well,
you know,
they made them
memory.
accessible now. Like they're not $200.
Yeah, you don't have to exactly. Yeah, you're not paying over and above. I mean, you are paying to watch them. I don't subscribe to any of the services it was on. It used to be on, I guess for
or was it Peacock?
No,
or something,
you can only watch it. It used to be on Peacock, and you can only watch it on Netflix if you set a VPN to like Canada. It was live, and you could watch it live through Canadian Netflix. But otherwise, it was on ESPN. It was on some ESPN offshoot. And I think that's the other thing. There's so many of these offshoot things that I don't even know where it is anymore, you know?
That was a big part of why I didn't watch any of it, because you had said something to me right before you were going to watch it. I was like, oh shit, I forgot WrestleMania was on. I went over to Netflix to turn it on and it wasn't there. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not. I lost no sleep about not watching the first night.
You didn't miss anything.
And that's what I've heard. And then I was going to watch it. My plan was to switch over from after the Pistons game, their playoff game, and watch whatever was left of it when that got done. And same thing, I couldn't get it on Netflix, and I lost absolutely zero. I was like, oh, it's not there, whatever. And I think I just fell asleep watching Cheers or something like that. So,
shucks.
You know,
more Cheers.
Right, like, yeah, not really complaining, but I would have watched it, but I'm not going to go subscribe to anything else for WrestleMania. If I already have it,
sure,
I'll probably tune into it and see what's going on. But I haven't watched current wrestling really, aside from a couple Manias when they were on Netflix or whatever. I personally think the problem with it is I don't see anyone that's relatable to like make me give a shit about it. Like even like I was checked out of the Attitude Era. Like I didn't really watch it or anything like that. But you can laugh at the Steve Austin storyline and be like, yeah, look at this guy giving the boss to the finger. I enjoy watching Vince McMahon get the shit kicked out of him. Anytime that Vince McMahon took a kick to the nuts, I was like, well, that's cool. And some of the antics they did, like again, Stone Cold stealing the Zamboni and driving it into the ring or something like that. It hit a point where it was like, wow, that's so over the top and ridiculous that even if you're just watching it like 20 years later on a biography, you can find entertainment there. With the stuff that's happening now, I just don't care. And I feel like, as a guy who likes sneakers, I feel like wrestlers are more concerned about what sneakers they wear to the ring right now than they are about the wrestling and whatever story they're trying to convey. So I'm just kind of checked out, and I don't think there's anyone that I give a shit about in the WWE right now to watch.
I think it's funny that you say relatable, because I don't think any of these people, these guys that spend all their time in the gym, relatable, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So I'll move on, because I don't need to even talk about it anymore. It's not even worth spending another breath talking about it, in my opinion. I also got a chance to watch a bunch more Louis Theroux documentaries. So Weird Weekends, I kind of gave those a break. And then he did a bunch of hour-long documentaries that I watched. And I don't know if it was part of a series or what, but I watched one about kids with autism, trans kids, living with dementia. Like he had a series called Extreme Love. And it was, one of them was about people living with their, partners that have dementia. One person had dementia at or early onset dementia at 48. This woman had dementia or early onset dementia. So kind of how people cope with that. And then the last one that I just finished was called Heroin. I think it's called Heroin Town, USA. And it's about a town in Virginia where it's like one out of 4 people are affected by knowing someone who had heroin addiction or some kind of opiate addiction coming from, all the hillbilly heroin like OxyContin and all that stuff. Sure. And they that was interesting. They had people that were just doing it to kind of, keep their sanity so they didn't get withdrawals. There were people that were living by like the river that were sanctioned by the city because that's where they could house them, and they had little camps set up. And it's just, yeah. I mean, these are episodes. I want to say these are like from the 2010s era, maybe 2012 to like 2017-ish time frame. So again, linked in the show notes. And the last thing I want to talk about, because I am so ready to just get to the topic of today, because it's going to be so great. I watched a 1988 film called Cop Game, and it is directed by our buddy Bruno Mattei, who directed Hands of Steel, but he goes by the directorial name of Bob Hunter for this movie. And the biggest star in this movie, Cop Game, is an actor called Brent Huff, and he is probably best known, and this probably isn't saying much, but he's best known from the TV show The Rookie that starred Nathan Fillion, where he's like I get that confused with Castle. But anyways, this movie is about these undercover military police in the last days of the Vietnam War. And the movie is 1988, so they make absolutely no attempt to even disguise anything like it's the 70s, the mid to late 70s, like the end of the Vietnam era. It's all 80s stuff. Like they don't film it in Vietnam. It's filmed in the Philippines. So it's kind of, has a bit of a jungle feel, but it's the Philippines. And anyways, these armed at the beginning of the movie, these armed.
Is this kind of like the Deadly Prey jungle that we had to watch?
No, it's actually jungle, because it's the Philippines. Okay. So it's tropical. They're all sweating profusely, constantly. So these 3 military masked guys, part of this elite force, are killing former officers of said elite force. And they're called the Cobra Force. And they have lots of fun just firing endlessly rounds from LMGs. The bullets never stop. If it stops, it's, for effect. And yeah, like there's no attempt to make it look era appropriate. There are basically 2 songs that play in the movie the whole time. And it's like, if they're in a club, it's this one song. And if they're doing an action thing, it's another song. And there's even a car chase that happens in the movie that are clearly I don't know if they're not slot cars, but they're like either like on a string, they're toy miniature to scale cars, and they're pulling on a string or something. I don't know how the cars move, but you can tell that it's all miniatures, and it's painfully obvious. And then the movie goes from like urban Vietnam, quote unquote, to like the jungle, and then to like an embassy. Or it makes no sense. The movie is one of those movies where it ends like super abruptly, like the good guys under threat of being killed, and then somebody else comes in and kills the bad guy, like out of nowhere, some character that you don't expect to ever see, and they show his face and he kind of jumps into frame, and then it's the credits. So yeah, if you're looking for a movie you can just kind of put on and see some ridiculous stuff, it's okay. But it was really hard to follow. Like, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But it then opened all these other doors to Bruno Mattei films that I'm gonna probably jump into as time goes on. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend watching that movie unless you really have nothing else to do with your time. And that's kind of how I ended up watching it. But yeah, those are the things
I feel like that's how I watch half the movies that I watch. I was
say kind of the focus of the show. But yeah, that's what I got a chance to watch, John. Over to you. What have you been watching?
All right. Well, I'm going to start with something that I'm excited about. So, friend of the show, Victor Gabriel, we talked about him a little bit before with the movie Blood Gorge and Cruel. We like Victor. He's a young up-and-coming filmmaker, and he has a new movie that's coming out this year called Hellmare, which I was lucky enough to get to see. I don't want to go into the plot and the storyline because, one, there's someone in this room who hasn't seen it yet, and I don't want to like ruin it for him or anyone else. But
who's over there?
Hellmare is Gus. Anyway, Hellmare, it really is a fun movie as a horror movie. It achieves on everything you wanted to achieve on. I like this. I said this about A&P films with Murder Size and OnlyFans and stuff and what they've done, but with this movie too, you really see him take a step forward, honing his craft. This movie looks great. It looks as good as any movie that it looks as good as any other horror movie that I've seen in the last couple of years. Like, it's right on par with all that type of stuff. The gore is still really right on. I like what they did with the story. It's kind of a little like meta type stuff going on with it, but it doesn't like beat you over the head with it or annoy you with it. It's a really, really enjoyable movie, and I'm excited for him that he's got this coming out. We'll have more details coming up because there is going to be a small premiere coming up, so maybe you can come out there and meet us or hang out with it. Meet him first. Like, we'll just be there drinking and watching. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it once it is available. And in the meantime, watch Blood Gorge or watch Cruel, because those are a lot of fun too. Sticking with the local theme, I found a movie called Movie Theater Massacre, which I didn't realize was a local until I started watching it. I'm like, holy shit. It features, the whole movie is set inside the Redford Theater in Redford, Michigan, which is, for people who aren't in the area, it's like a small suburb outside Detroit. And I think it's the oldest art film like theater in the States still. If not, it's one of, but they always do a lot of like cool older movies there and special events and stuff like that. It is a very cool theater to go into, and you feel very much so like you're in a classic or a vintage theater compared to going to like an AMC where, you know, they're texting and bringing you pizza and bullshit like that. Like, it's not one of those. The movie itself, though, if I'm being honest, not that great. The movie is basically a movie about a slasher that is a dude who's wearing like all black and a black ski mask is kind of killing people. They're dying in the movie, but it's pretty bad. Like, I think a butter knife is used at one point, you know, and the whole premise is that the movie theater is going under and that it's going to get sold and turned into condos or something. And I don't even remember why, but at the end of the movie, it doesn't. And everyone's happy. And I mean, it does have a Linnea Quigley cameo in it. So there's that. And that's kind of it. Like, I don't.
What year is it?
2023.
Oh, okay. So it's recent.
Yeah, it's recent. It must have been shot during COVID because there's a lot of like light commentary about that, and there's a couple scenes with people with masks on. Even at the end of the movie, it's got two of the other theaters, like the main art theater, and I don't remember what the other one is, but two of them that closed during COVID, and they're like, oh, save theaters, blah 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 type thing. I mean, I respect the fact that this guy, whoever did this, I don't remember the director, I didn't look it up before this, so I apologize. I respect the fact that he, put himself out there, made a movie that's more than I did, so I'm not trying to shit on it like that. But it's, aside from seeing a couple local things around here, it's not great. So, take that for what it's worth. And then, remember a couple months ago, I was talking about the movie Scanner Cop, and I was a lot of psychic stuff with him going, la, 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 all that.
Yep.
I watched Scanner Cop 2. Yeah.
Is there
Scanner
more
Cop 2. There is so much of it that my dog was annoyed with this movie. Like, I had to stop it 3 times because, like, it kept making this stupid scanner noise that they do. And it does it, like, if I don't remember if this movie's an hour and a half, probably an hour and 20 minutes of this movie is them making the noise so you know that something psychic is going on. And it just gets fucking exhausting. Like, I'm assuming it hurt my dog's ears because, he's a dog and it's a different tone or whatever. It didn't hurt my ears, but it sure got fucking annoying quick. I was like, are we still doing this? Like, come on. That said, it does have some fun stuff in it. It's got Kane Hodder in it, and he gets, screwed up, which is kind of fun. It's got Robert Forster in it. We like him. And it has a really good line of dialogue that's where the scanner cop is fighting the scanner bad guy. He's like, I'll kill you so bad. I'm like, really? That's what you said? I'll kill you so bad. So, I mean, it's not, if you ever saw Scanner Cop, which I don't know if anyone other than me has seen Scanner Cop, but if you've seen Scanner Cop and you wanted more of it, like, it does deliver on that, but it's basically just Scanner Cop is back and now there's Scanner Bad Guy and they eventually fight. And of course, Scanner Bad Guy is like a supervillain and he's kind of doing whatever the script tells him to do, while Scanner Cop is kind of 2 feet behind him, and occasionally they get next to each other and go, ah, and make a bunch of annoying noise. Yeah.
Oh, la 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 la. Sorry.
La 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 la. Again, you're better off just going back to the South Park episode and watching the psychic fight, because that's a condensed, like, 20-minute version of this movie with more psychics, as opposed to an hour and 20 minutes of annoying noise with occasional crazy shit happening. But it does still have some cool, like, body horror stuff in there and whatnot. So it's true to the original, even though it tends to get, in my opinion, more annoying.
I always think, like, poor Robert Forster, he had a nice career, and then we had him Alligator, and then he toils away in movies like this forever, and then he gets his Jackie Brown, and then he kind of has a little bit of a resurgence, and then he just fades away again.
I think he was hoping for the John Travolta,
I think he got a slight one.
Not like Travolta did, though.
No, but Travolta's had, like, multiple.
Yeah, he does that like every 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, so. It feels like haven't seen one recently, but yeah.
What are you talking about? We had Gotti and that movie that Fred Durst directed, and
Fanatic.
That we haven't watched like yet. That. But
yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. He said
I'm also dreading and looking forward to it as well. That's all I got, though. So let's take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to finish this horrible month of Threequels, and someone needs to punch the guy in the face who thought this up, because it was a bad idea. Just wait till we get to Fourquel month or whatever that would be called. But we're going to come back. Like, that sounds intriguing after Threequel month. We're going to come back and talk about possibly the most threatened movie on this entire show. We're going to talk about Clerks 3 and get this over with. So
yay.
We'll be right back. Exactly. Snooty boochies.
Maybe you've heard, maybe you haven't. But we've got a Patreon now.
Another Patreon? Really?
Well, yeah, but this one is different.
How could this possibly be different?
Well, first off, you get episodes early, and we have Discord.
Everybody has a Discord thing. I thought you said this was different.
Well, it's not just that we've got a Discord, but we've got different stuff on the Discord.
Okay, I'm listening. What else?
Look, this read is already getting to be too long, and I'm running out of AI credits. So if you want to know all the perks of joining our Patreon, check it out at patreon.com/Dewey Pod Monster for all the details. Go check it out.
Hi, everyone. AI John here.
If you're a horror fan like me, check out the Fans of the Dead podcast. Mike and Jeremy dedicate every episode to a horror film, from the popular to the unknown. You can get their takes on some of the movies we've talked about, including Terrifier, The Burning, and Ghostbusters. Head over to yourunpodcast.com to check them out and all the other members of the You Run Podcast Network.
All right, so we're back, and as been threatened for the last, 4 years, we're going to talk about Clerks 3. It's finally happening. Unlike any other movie that I can think of on this show, we have not covered the two prerequisites to this movie being Clerks 1 and Clerks 2. So let's get that out of the way like lightning quick. Before we get into this one, Sean, what are your quick thoughts on Clerks 1 and 2 or the Clerks franchise as a whole? You can even expand it past to all Kevin's, however you want to lead it. Like,
that's my thoughts on it. I hate you. Why do you do
personally?
this to me? Why do you do this? Why did you do this? Why did you do this to us? I hate you.
Are you talking to me or Kevin Smith?
Yes. No, you. You're the one that suggested that we watch this. What's Kevin Smith have to do with it? He's just a pawn. He's just a pawn in this tawdry, fucking fake ass game we're playing here. I like.
All right, I think we're ready for hot dogs.
Oh my God, I want to get it out of the way. This just might be. We say like this might be the shortest episode. Ha 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 ha. This might actually be the shortest episode of this show ever.
Oh, I've got a few things to say, but this might be the most. This is going to be a challenge for the most negative show that we've had because there's only one that might challenge it.
So Clerks 1, I was looking up stuff last night after I watched this, and I was looking at like different actors and stuff that were in the cast, during the research and everything, and looking to see what things certain people were in, and it took me down the road to Clerks 1, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this. I saw it with this girl that I went to college with, and we watched it at her parents' house, and blah 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 blah. And then, that kind of launched his career, and I liked a lot of we've gone over this a lot, but like I liked most of the View Askew-averse or whatever for the most part up until I didn't see Jersey Girl, and then I really didn't see a lot of stuff after that until like Red State. But then I saw Clerks 2, and I really liked it. I was like, oh, this is really cool because they had the same characters, obviously the same actors, and they go in this totally different direction, but it's still a similar direction. It kind of felt like, to me, a return to form of Kevin Smith doing these types of movies, and I was really surprised, and I really enjoyed it. And then I think that we had talked about Kevin Smith is finally making a Clerks 3 after he had talked about it for a long time. And I was I wouldn't say I was like looking forward to seeing this, but I was curious to see in 2022 what Clerks 3 could be about. And I'll leave it at that because I'm sure we're going to talk about it. So, but yeah, we had both seen this before, and it's just for background. Yep. I don't think either of us liked it upon first viewing.
No, we did not.
I think that's fair.
I have a feeling that's not going to change much, but for me, like, I really like Clerks 1 and 2. Like, the first two, I find both to be really entertaining. In fact, I would say I like more Kevin Smith movies than I don't, just as a very broad statement. But Clerks 1 and 2 are kind of like, they're not special to me, but I feel like they're kind of special in that they do a really good job taking this narrative of these like slacker characters. It is a really cute story of like, boy who should not be making a movie finds a way to make a movie and kind of turns it into a career, which is cool. And with Clerks 2 specifically, I really enjoyed that they gave Dante a happy ending, that they wrapped it up in a nice bow. I felt like the story had gone to a very satisfying and natural conclusion, and I wasn't necessarily against the idea of getting another outing with Dante and Randall, but I did not feel that it was needed at any point. I really liked how Clerks 2 ended. I felt like it was a really nice, like, come full circle moment to these characters. So It felt like that's where the story ended. And then we get to Clerks 3. So we're going to go ahead and start now with our normal shtick, which is a third-party review. I have two, because why not? We'll start with Connor. These are both on Letterboxd, and Connor says, at one point, it cuts to footage from Clerks 2, and the difference in quality is so vast that it's like they accidentally cut footage shot by Stanley Kubrick and put it in the movie. 1 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
And then possibly the most relatable review that I've read of this movie, Andrew says, I just sat in silence for 100 minutes and thought about every horrible decision I've made in my life that led me to this point. Half a star out of 5. So these two did not like it. Now, believe it or not, most of the reviews that I was reading on this kind of skewed more positive to it, which I was a little surprised by. So we'll come back around to that. I do have a very, very few positives to give this movie, but showing my hand, I guess. Let's start with some of the other stuff that we usually do. Sean, what is Clerks 3 all about?
Yeah, okay. So for that, we put in Clerks 3 into imdb.com, and that brings up about 500 podcasts. This is the first movie that I can think of that when I just type in straight up Clerks and the number 3, the numeral 3, I don't even see the movie in the first page of results. So I guess we were talking about this before we started. I think it has to be 3, like the Roman numeral 3, 3 eyes. And that seems like it brings it up. But that brings up this movie from 2022. It gets an R rating. It's an hour and 40 minutes long. It gets a 6.2 out of 10 with 22,000 ratings. And we go to this thing at the top of the page. You're never quite sure if it's the storyline or the plot, but Buddy Christ says that they wouldn't put it on top if you weren't supposed to read it first. So it says, Dante, Elias, and Jay and Silent Bob are enlisted by Randall after a heart attack to make a movie about the convenience store that started it all. And then if we scroll on down,
I hate that sentence.
Yes.
Dante, Elias, and Jay, and Silent Bob.
Yes.
I hate that statement. I'm sorry. And they left Randall out of there. Oh, wait. No, they do.
No,
Never mind. I'm sorry.
Well, guess what, John? You hated it the first time. The storyline says Dante, Elias, and Jay and Silent Bob are enlisted by Randall after a heart attack to make a movie about the convenience store that started it all.
And before we get going here, who are some of the people that we want to talk about in this movie?
I don't really want to talk about any of these people, but I will name them. So we have Brian O'Halloran, who plays Dante. He was, him from Clerks 1 and Clerks 2. If you've seen that, he is Gil Hicks, who is Dante's cousin, right? In Mallrats.
Is he? I think
it's supposed to be his cousin.
Into it.
Brian has also been in Vulgar, which is a movie about a person that's a clown.
It's like a clown that, yeah.
Does he turn into a clown?
I don't remember.
A real
I haven't
clown?
seen
Anyways,
that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in like 30 years at this point. I'm not sure.
All right. So we have Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall. He's been in the same stuff I just said about Brian O'Halloran. He was also in Zack and Miri Make a Porno. We have Jason Mewes, who plays Jay. Half of the Jay and Silent Bob characters. Again, same movies. He was in Jay and Bob. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Probably other stuff. Chasing Amy, etc., etc. We have Kevin Smith, who plays Silent Bob. Same stuff as Jason Mewes, a few other things. We have Trevor Furman, who plays Elias. He was in Clerks 2. And this movie, he really doesn't have a whole lot on his, IMDb page, I guess we'll call it. Then we also have appearances by Rosario Dawson, Amy Sedaris, Justin Long, Fred Armisen, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Danny Trejo, Donnell Rawlings, Ben Affleck, Ethan Suplee, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Anthony Michael Hall. And that's really all I want to mention as far as cast goes. I want to say, though, before we really get started on IMDb, I was, number one, really surprised at the 6.2 rating out of 10, but I'm also really surprised, and for some reason I can't read any of the actual featured reviews because I'm not logged into IMDb, but these are all, for the most part, really good. And I have this movie, spoilers, or I don't know, I have it on Plex, and Plex has all the different, has like it aggregates a bunch of different reviews and stuff. And a lot of reviews on there were 4 stars and higher. And the few that were 3 stars and lower, there were a lot of reactions, like Plex user interactions that were thumbs down and things like that. So I start to wonder if I'm just an asshole, like a curmudgeonly asshole film snob or something, or are these people all drinking the Kool-Aid? Like,
I have a theory.
Yeah. Please share.
So this movie, when it came out initially, was a movie that Kevin Smith took on tour with his band of merry convenience store employees. So when I think the majority of people first saw this, they were seeing it in a room with Kevin Smith, Brian O'Halloran, Jeff Anderson, Jason Mewes, and whoever else he wrangled up for said tour. And I'm willing to bet if you're watching this movie with that group of people, you're probably going to find ways to have more fun with it than watching it in a basement, in your living room, in a theater by yourself, whatever the case is. I'm willing to bet just by being in a group of like-minded people who are paying money to go to this event, because at that point it's an event because they do their little Q&A shit after, you're probably more likely to find humor in it, because anything like laughter is contagious like that. So anything like that happens, you probably find yourself having a more fun time because of the fact that you're in that environment. Now, whether that's enough, I'm just looking at IMDb. There's 22,000 ratings on this, and it's still sitting at 6.2%. What percentage of that 22,000 makes up people that saw it in that environment as opposed to saw it at home? I would have thought would be like, if 22,000 people saw this and rated it on here, I mean, if 5,000 saw it at that, I don't know how many shows he did with it or whatever. I feel like that's still generous. Like if a quarter of them saw it in that specific environment, but who knows?
I mean, we have 22,000 reviews, and the majority, if you scroll down to where the user review score is, it shows you how many, like the actual featured reviews and everything. 6 and 7 are by far the majority.
Yeah.
7 is actually a little bit higher than 6. And there's some 8s and 5s, like the bell curve is like, it really peaks at 6 and 7, 5 and 8 look roughly the same. I don't want to get into like charts and things like that. So there are people, obviously, a lot of reviews in the 6 and 7 range, a lot of reviews in the 5, 6, 7, and 8 range. But there's a lot of 10s here. There's more 10s here than 1. I buy.
I really feel like that's
explanation.
I really feel like that's people just blindly saying like, I like Kevin Smith 10, and like
I think user reviews are kind of never mind
bullshit.
Yeah, I mean we've talked about love this movie 1 star, hate this movie 5 stars. You know, just that kind of dumb shit that happens too. But whatever. Anyways, I digress.
So as far as the cliff notes for this, I mean, I'm just gonna put it really simple, and here's your spoiler warning now because I don't care. This movie is about Randall having a heart attack, becoming a raging dickhead for about an hour and a half, and then Dante having a heart attack. That's really what this movie's about.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to go that far into the spoiler. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, It's telegraphed pretty quick and early. So let's get into likes. And my likes list is pretty short. I have 2-3 things that I really like in this. I'll put them out there. They're all like one-line throwaway things because there's, for the most part, I found it really funny. There's a scene where they're shooting this movie. Oh, well, I should say, should have gone more into it. So Randall decides to make a movie about his life, which is essentially Randall making Clerks. It's not quite movie within a movie, so it has tons of throwbacks. It literally lifts exact shots from Clerks and remakes them or just reuses them. There's a couple from Clerks too, but it's primarily Clerks. And of course, because it's Kevin Smith, he sticks his own penis in his mouth and occasionally blows himself on the majority of his movies throughout the runtime of this at some point. So one of the things I did find funny, there is a pretty good scene where they're shooting at night. The scene's actually pretty boring, but they're making noise, and Jay comes out of the video store, which is now their dispensary, which is a whole different weird setup with how they're doing it, and basically screams at Dante to shut the fuck up because it's nighttime. I don't know why, but that one line kind of made me laugh. And the other like place where I really laughed quite a bit was there, you know, at one point they were doing casting to play Randall and Dante, even though they're calling like some knockoff version of Randall and Dante at this point of the movie.
Dante and something else.
Yeah. It's like Randy and Dante or whatever. Danny Trejo like auditioning to play Dante also made me laugh. The first time I saw this time, not as much, but I still like seeing Danny Trejo. My other thing that I'll say that as a positive, I'll come back to, are there things in this movie you like?
I think Justin Long is kind of funny. It's annoying, but
I forgot he's even in it, but yeah.
So there's a scene where Randall first has his heart attack where they go to the hospital and Justin Long plays like an orderly who's doing OR prep, and he has to shave a part of his groin so they can fish a camera up into his heart to see where the blockage is. I think that's the only thing I really laughed at in this movie, and the rest I sat sober, stone-faced, watching the rest of this movie, and like I couldn't. I'll end that. That was my positive. Yeah,
I'll say the other thing that I'm gonna put as a positive, like overall, even though I don't think this is executed well. I like how Kevin Smith tried to end this movie. I like the idea. I like how he tries to wrap it up. The problem is he does so much to annoy me leading up to that scene. And what I'm talking about is when after Randall breaks back into the hospital and like the final, I guess not the final scene, but the final scene with Dante in it as an alive person.
Jeez.
I like what they
just
he's in it again.
Spoiling the shit out of it.
Do you really fucking care if I spoil it? So
I don't, but you know,
I like what they were going for with it. I think the idea of Randall having this reckoning, kind of not being a complete raging asshole like he is for the majority of this movie, and having this little, like, I don't know if it's a coming of age moment or what you want to call it, but the idea I think is good. If you're going to force me to down this road with these characters that we already have opinions of, I see what he was trying to do with it. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. That kind of is like a sweet way to try to wrap this up. But this leads into the negatives with the movie. And I'm going to start with the biggest one with it. I don't know if it's Kevin Smith or if it's the actors in this movie or a little bit of both. And I say that with all due respect to the actors, because I do think Brian O'Halloran is trying his damnedest to act his ass off in this movie. I think he really puts forth an effort to try to give a good performance. I just don't think it's there, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it's more to do with the story that they're trying to tell. I think that's the biggest problem this movie has, is it just falls flat. Like, it takes some very established characters that, at least in my opinion, we left in a very good place. It just feels wrong genre for this like universe that we've established over. I mean, if we're counting the View Askew universe, what is that, like 7 movies at this point? Because you got Clerks III, Jay and Silent Bob, Clerks II, Reboot, which also sucked, and I feel like I'm missing one in there somewhere, maybe 2. It just feels like we genre jumped, but not in a way that's satisfying, not in a way that fits these characters. And if you're going to pull the plug and try to make a strong dramatic story, just make a strong dramatic story, whether you use these characters or not. Like, if that's the lane you're going to go for, veer into that lane and try to stay there. And I don't want to say that Kevin Smith isn't a strong enough writer to deliver that kind of movie, but I honestly don't think he's a strong enough writer to deliver that kind of movie in this universe.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like you said, I feel like the actors that are acting in this movie they're working to the best of their ability. We know that Brian O'Halloran plays, he's played Dante. This is he's played Dante in a few like offshoot things. Like, he's appeared as Dante and other things. I can't put my finger on what all those things are.
2 movies, a cartoon, at least Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm sure there's others, but anyway.
And when he has to deliver these really emotional lines, he does a great job. It's very convincing. You can feel like, you can see, or at least it feels like he is very frustrated as this character. And Randall acting as Randall does in the movies, he's not acting any different. He's a raging asshole. Sure. Yeah. That's how he's been in all the movies. That's fine. He has this kind of come to Jesus moment where near the end of the movie where it's like, oh my God, I've been this horrible person to you. And, you've been the person that has motivated me to do all these things with my life and blah, blah, blah. It's just I think the problem, without getting into specific dislikes just yet, because you kind of opened the door for this, is that everything feels just very saccharine. Like, I understand. I totally get Kevin Smith had this heart attack. He had this epiphany of like, I want the legacy of these characters. I want to make a movie based on my experience. Like, he rewrote the movie several times. Like, there were all these different plots and all these different parts of the story. And Jeff Anderson, he wasn't going to come back for some of the things. There was some kind of falling out. I don't know the details on that. I really couldn't care less.
I don't care. Yeah.
Right. They come back together. They're going to make this last Clerks movie, or, at least that's what we've been led to believe. Yeah. They're going to make this Clerks 3 movie. And it just feels like, I don't know. Yeah, you're getting to be this age where this is a concern, like taking care of yourself and not, drinking 87 cans of pop a day or soda or whatever. That's not even something that's in the movie. But like,
Doesn't matter.
you know, you got to
I know
take
what
care
you're
of
saying.
yourself. You got to change your diet. Kevin Smith goes through this. Okay, I get it. That's so cool. Like, I'm glad that you want to raise awareness of this thing. But was this the way to do it? Like, was this the way that you're going to take this established, like you said, this established group of characters that we know from this comedy movie, and you're going to make a comedy that's like devoid of any kind of real laughs or joy or anything like that? Like, specific things like Elias, we've established from Clerks II and from this movie at the beginning, at least, he's like this very Christian character to a fault, right? He's like, you know, he hadn't heard of all these things that in Clerks 2 of all these different franchises that Randall and Randall specifically.
That's
talks
also
about.
what makeable
Yes.
well, not the first movie, the second movie.
Yeah.
That's what made him likable. Sorry, I interrupted you.
That's
Sorry.
okay. But it takes nothing for him to total 180 the character from being this like Bible-fearing Christian, devout, you know, follower of Christ to being this, I'm going to, you know, Mr. Dante, you know, or I'm sorry, Randall, he's so ill. He's having this heart attack. I'm going to denounce God because he didn't do any. It's like, this is the hill that you're going to die on. Like, this is the hill that this character is going to change his entire feeling of. I don't like when Randall, they open whatever the pressure so his heart can beat at higher capacity, and they play the Degrassi, the Next Generation music. I realize that Kevin Smith says that's actually something that happened to him. It was the happiest music that he just, it's like, I don't, in the one respect, I like that previously Kevin Smith pushed these things on us, like these comic book clerks, basically, that like argue the virtues of Han Solo and the Star Wars universe and blah, 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 blah. But when you start to get to be a 50-year-old man and
Feels like a crutch now.
it feels like you're just a man baby. Like, dude, you can like the things that you like. You don't have to fucking force it down everybody else's throat. And I love Degrassi. I love Degrassi Next Gen up until a point. I didn't watch much after that. But like, it's not like a defining part of my personality. You know, that's not like a thing that I go and I you know, tell every person I talk to immediately that I like. This isn't true for me, but like that I love Star Wars and I'm going to tell you about everything in the world. It's like this Elias's sidekick, Blockchain Coltrane. This actor says nothing. He's like the Silent Bob analog. He's like,
you know why he's in there, right?
Because he's his Kevin Smith's daughter's fiance.
Yeah.
But he is such
I didn't
an
know
annoying
they were
character.
engaged, but sure.
He is such
I knew they were
an annoying
engaged,
character.
so.
All the faces that he makes and he's like a mime, basically. He's Kevin Smith's Silent Bob character, but like amped up to 1,000. And I guess Elias and Coltrane, I don't even like saying his full name because it makes me mad. I can see that they're like these Jay and Silent Bob analogs, but it just gets annoying. Like, this guy just comes on screen and makes these faces and, you know, does this thing, and then they walk away, and the constantly evolving Elias character, like the makeup, and every time you see him, he's got this other thing. I guess that's cool if you think that that's cool. I don't think it's cool. And the last big dislike that I will touch on, and I'll let you kind of spew some more dislikes, is I hate the cameo section of the movie where they have all these actors, Ben Affleck, Danny Trejo, you know, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., all these people. It just feels like Kevin Smith got the memo that hours are supposed to be an hour and a half long, and he wanted to go above and beyond and add another 10 minutes. So he put this audition thing. It feels tedious. It feels pandering. It feels like a waste of time to me, all things considered, because immediately the decision gets made that we're not going to use any of these people. Fuck it. I'm just going to call these people. They're going to be Dante, and it's going to be Randall and Jay and Silent Bob, and we're going to play ourselves. You're making this
story
movie
behind that.
I couldn't care less. You're making this whole thing. I don't need to. If you can't tell me what the story is in your movie and can't make it interesting, I couldn't give a fuck about what the background story is, because make it interesting in the movie.
Let me link that
Please.
to one of the things I don't like.
Yes.
Because I said I like Danny Trejo in it, but the rest of them I don't give a shit about. But one of the things that really pisses me off about this movie too, as someone who's followed, I'd say all of, if not the majority of Kevin Smith's career,
Kevin Smith will tell you fucking everything about his career. If Kevin Smith wakes up tomorrow morning and jacks off, he's probably going to tell you that he woke up tomorrow morning and jacked off. That's just kind of what he is. So all the behind the scenes making of Clerks things, like all these actors coming in and reading horrible lines and whatnot apparently that's the same room where they initially did auditions, and he changed it to reflect what his friends in. That was something that happened. Well, we know that because Kevin Smith's been talking about it for 30 fucking years. We know about the heart attack story because he did a whole stand-up special going over all these details piece by piece. I think there's parts of that in some of his other movies too. These are not new ideas. These are just, I mean, I've complained about other comedians doing this too, but he's taking things that he's already done, packaged, refined, sold, and put out in the world as content, whether it's a podcast, a touring, spoken word show, other movies, TV show, whatever the fuck he's got his little hands into. And now he's just shilling it out again in the same format while, quite frankly, doing the one thing that a sequel just should not be able to do, where it not only, like, this movie not only leaves a funk in my mouth about Clerks 3, it also leaves a funk in my mouth about Clerks 1 and 2. And honestly, it leaves a funk in my mouth about his entire fucking filmography. Like, it honestly makes me like, you know, I got past it. Like I said last week, I went back and watched Mallrats because I wanted to remind myself that I do occasionally like Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Before this conversation, and this is why. But it really does just piss you off to that extent where it's like, dude, again, this is coming off the heels of rebooting another movie that I enjoyed and fucking it up and making it not funny or not fun anymore. You just did this with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and now you're doing it again with Clerks. Like, at least Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, like, that's not... I like that movie. It's fun. It's stupid. Whatever. Like, that's a whole different conversation that we'll probably never have on a different day. But Clerks is like a whole... I mean, I'm sure Kevin Smith knows this. Like, how many times have you heard the man say, I made Clerks? It is an iconic movie for a whole bunch of reasons. And granted, it's for a specific generation. Like, if you showed your daughters Clerks, I would be shocked if you told me, like, oh, they loved it. Like, right. I would be, like, my jaw would be on the floor. Like, how did that happen?
It's from a specific
And that almost opens... Yeah, and that almost leads to another question with this movie. Like, who the fuck is it, aside from Kevin Smith, who the fuck is this movie for? Because most of us that grew up watching Clerks in our 20s or teens or whatever it was, by the time we got to Clerks 2, you're seeing a different portion of life. These guys are still in these shit jobs, but, you know, they're evolving. Again, at least for Dante, they have a happy ending. He's presumably going to start a family, and then... whether it's Dante or Rand, whatever, they own the store now. All things are well in Clerks world. Okay. So like you said, they are reflecting on some real life things that people in this age bracket, and they're saying, I think he said these are mostly like Clerks 3 is supposed to focus on them in their 40s. I feel like this is closer to their 50s, but whatever, semantics. Who's this for? Like, no, I can't imagine the people that follow him on, like, the 20-year-olds that follow him on Twitter are going to give a shit about this movie, unless they just like all the crypto jokes that are in there. And even that feels just lazy to me.
Yes.
I don't imagine people in their, like, mid 30s are going to give a shit about this, because they're kind of right in the middle. You know, they missed the first wave of Kevin Smith. I don't know what, if you were 10 years late to the Kevin Smith party, is, I don't know, Tusk going to be the movie that pulls you into the Kevin Smith film? Like, even if I kind of like that movie, I'm not going to go recommend that as like, this is where you should start with your Kevin Smith fandom. You know, I don't see that happening. And the people like you or me that are kind of in the right age group for the, I would think the right age group for this, it's just so recycled, lazy. And honestly, like, I liked all the Star Wars and all the comic jokes and all that in the movies from the 90s, because we didn't hear those jokes in the 90s.
It wasn't.
I've just spent the last 20 years having Star Wars and Marvel crammed down my throat, in the last 5 to 6 years avoiding it as much as I can. So here it just feels played out in hack.
Yeah. And like the movie that Randall's making, you mentioned it, is just a scene for scene remake of Clerks, and we've already seen it. I guess I can add a lukewarm like for me. I thought it was cool when he brought back actors that were in the original movie. When he brings back the ex-girlfriend, I don't like how they're introduced, but I think it's fun that he was able to bring back these people that haven't been in anything since. I don't remember what the character's name was, his girlfriend that sucked all the dicks and all that stuff.
Veronica.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the actress's name is. I find that kind of fun, but it's, you're just, he's heard that video games like to remake and remaster things. So he decided he was going to do that with his career. And now we get to sit and listen to this shit.
I'm on the fence as far as whether I like all the people from the original movie coming back, and some of them like you knew would, like obviously the guys from the comic book store, Zapsik and all them, Walt and I forget Brian, whoever the fuck they are. You knew they were going to come back. One, because he still works with them because he owns their fucking store and they do all these other projects together. So you knew they would. But the guys like the Rick Darris guy and Veronica and whatnot, like one, I don't, it kind of makes me feel shitty. Like, I'm still here. Why am I still doing this? Why am I still like, oh, this has not changed. Like it almost like the second time around just makes me feel like, why do I need this? Like, I don't, this is a waste of my time. And the other thing I don't like about, like, there's a couple of them I'm okay with it, but I feel like they bring them back and it just doesn't do anything to enrich the story more other than give Kevin Smith this like jerk off flashback that he's probably looking for. If they had brought them back and had them do anything different, I mean, I guess they sort of have Veronica fuck Randall for some reason, but if they had them do something that adds, whatever. If they had them do something that adds to the storyline or do something that's even, I don't know, remotely funny, I'd feel better about it. But having them come back to just kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
Why? I already saw that movie. I liked it the first time I saw it. I don't know. Doesn't do much for me. And I feel like there's an elephant in the room here that I know I said at some point, maybe to you, maybe to not. I fucking hate how they treat Rosario Dawson's character, Becca or whatever the fuck her name was. One, okay, if we're going to off-screen her to death for stupid reasons, why do we just not even have her in the movie at all? Like, just have it be like, oh, Becky died, she had cancer, got hit by a drunk driver, I think is what they do in the movie, whatever the case is. So you can have that be a tragic thing without it. Instead, they bring her back through little bits of the movie. And I love Rosario Dawson. Like, she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Having her come back, like, they have a point where she basically is, you know, Dante is essentially hallucinating and talking to his dead wife in front of her grave. And she essentially tells him that she's cucking him with all these celebrities in heaven. Like, that's a really fucked up fantasy to have if you're talking to your dead wife. I don't know how I feel about, I mean, that's what you're into, I guess. But it also kind of shits all over what, like, if the idea of Clerks 2 is like Dante and Rebecca can find love, they can be happy as a couple together, it just kind of shits all over that. They're like, I'm not worried about you. I'm up here taking all this dick. Like, I'm good. It's done poorly. It's done in a way that feels insincere. And it discredits the previous movies, which just pisses me off.
I made an effort to try and figure out why she's only in it in these kind of hallucinations.
I'm sure she had a better job. She probably had other things to do. So
I never really found out. I never really figured out. I mean, I guess it was just part of what Kevin Smith wanted to do with the script. But yeah, I mean, for her to come in like this, like you said, you're just doing like your greatest hits tour. So there's not really a reason for her to be there just to show up unless you're trying to be like, hey, just wanted to keep you in the family and let you come on. We really loved what you did and blah, blah, blah. I don't see why.
I think her in 2, I think she's one of the best characters in all his films, not just Clerks or Clerks 2. Like, if you were to put all of them together, and I'm sure part of that's because I like Rosario Dawson, but I think she's one of the shining diamonds out of his entire filmography of any character that he's created. And I interrupted you again. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't have anything to add.
How about you? What else do you like or dislike about this?
I will only say one more thing, and this is not a dig. It's not, man, this guy, what happened? I realize that Jason Mewes has had a lot of problems and he's overcome those problems. That's great. I'm glad for him that they got his teeth fixed, but his teeth, I know that as time has gone on, I don't know if he's gotten another set of teeth or whatever, but this looks like the off the store shelf the off the shelf model of the teeth that he's going to have, and it is very, very distracting to watch him talk in this movie because his teeth are bright white, they're huge, and I'm just glad that he's like in a good spot and that he looks great these days because I looked him up because I knew he didn't still have these big horse teeth, but I was just like, man, that is distracting as fuck to look at this guy's and his big white pearly whites.
I don't know how I missed that, but I'm kind of glad I did. I'm not going to go back to confirm.
Yeah, that's
I don't really have a lot else, so let's just go ahead and get this shit over with.
Then you're in for a big treat, bro, because it's hot dog time.
So, if you haven't figured out, I don't like this movie. I can't recommend this movie in good faith. The only way I could say that anyone should watch this movie is if you're just a Kevin Smith fan and you want to see if you're just morbidly curious, but I would set the bar so low. This is, quite frankly, one of the most unpleasant movies I can think of to watch. And it's not just like, we talk about a movie like a being bad movie that we've covered on the show. Like, again, I'm comparing it to a horror movie in a violent nature. Like, at least that movie was trying to do something different. It was trying to tell, like, it didn't work. We didn't like it, but it did try to do a different thing. This doesn't even do that. Like, I don't like it. I'm glad that I hopefully will never have to watch it again. I give it no hot dogs and hope that everyone in the movie is in good health and I never have to watch this franchise again.
Whose hot dog is this, huh? Is it yours?
I don't like it. 0 hot dogs. John, I blame you. Everything you said. I don't wish any ill will on any of these people. I hope they have fruitful lives and their careers are bountiful, but I didn't like it. I usually write things. The things that I read it or I talk about at the end are things that I've written because I kind of have a summary at the end. I didn't want to do that. I just don't like the movie. It's not for me. If you like it, cool. I feel like you brought up In a Violent Nature. I've also seen the tide turn on the opinion on In a Violent Nature of just random people on the internet who love it. I don't understand that. People that love this movie, I don't understand that either. You like it? That's cool. I'm glad that you found something you like. I don't like it, and I won't watch it again. Hopefully I won't have to watch it again. Unless we do it for Frankenstein's in May.
Oh, God. No, we're not doing that. We try to make at least movies
we
that
want
at least
people to come.
We at least want to be entertained while we're there. So,
yes.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got. I could, but I'm not going to. It's funny you mentioned that about like usually writing a summary. And usually when I do notes, like my top is likes, my bottom is dislikes. And I will often put a little summary.
Yeah.
My dislikes is like 2 pages. I was like, I'm not even bother because it's going to be basically just like see above, So
yeah, mine were just like you said. I do likes at the top, dislikes, and then conclusion. I wrote about, I don't know, 5 sentences or so, and I just was like, I'm not even going to waste my time writing things. I know what I don't like about this movie. I don't need to study or scan my notes to tell you. And I knew that we would have enough things in common. It's
a rough one. So, and we're sorry we made you sit. Hopefully you found some entertainment in us bitching for the last hour or so, but maybe if you didn't, you can go back and find a better episode to listen to. May I suggest the Lady Terminator episode? That one's pretty fun.
The Nostril Picker.
You can find all those. The Nostril Picker is an even better episode. Go way back. That's probably a couple years now, but you can find all those all over the place. You can find it at crap.town. That is our site. You go straight there. You can listen to anything that we've done, and that's where we have all our upcoming stuff. You can also go to yourunpodcast.com. All of our episodes are available on there, as well as all the other great shows on the You Run Podcast Network. And of course, you can go through whichever podcast player or YouTube, whatever you prefer. They're all on both of those, I think. They're all on YouTube, right? Yeah, should be. So, oh yeah, social media. We have social media. Of course we do, for better or worse. You can unfollow Kevin Smith and follow us if you like. That'd be pretty cool. We're at Dewey Pod Monster on all the social networks, with the exception of Blue Sky, where we are at crap.town. And of course, we are a crowd-supported show. Anyone who has already joined our Patreon, thank you very much. If you would like to join, please head over to patreon.com/DeweyPodMonster. There's different tiers there. You can pick whatever's best for you. Anything that you want to do would be greatly appreciated, and we thank you in advance. Sean, what am I forgetting?
I was going to say, if you have a different opinion about this movie, please try and explain to us what are we missing something? Is it possible that we're just missing something? You can reach out on social media and let us know. You can specifically contact John. and tell him all the things, all the reasons that you love this movie and why we should love it too. I am so very sorry that this was such a downer of an episode, but I think that when we started April in the 3, we kind of knew that we were going to end it with this movie, and yikes. So anyways, if you like any of the things we talked about earlier in this podcast, John mentioned we're on Patreon. Those things aren't affected by Patreon. We're still linking to all the best free entertainment that money can buy. I don't know any other show in the universe that has 90% of the things that they talk about be free on their show, but that's us. That's what we do. If you go to our show notes, if you go to crap.town, if you go to the show notes inside your podcast player of choice, you'll find links to all this stuff and the things that we talked about. You can click those links. They're free. If they say Amazon next to them, those are not free. They'll probably say Amazon next to them because let's face it, we want to try and earn a little extra scratch. And we can earn a little extra scratch by you clicking on those links that say Amazon next to them. If you click that, you buy anything through that link. We get a small cut of anything that you buy. And let's face it again. Let's face it some other way. Jeff Bezos doesn't need your money, but we do. So buy something on Amazon if you have to and click the link and do it that way. If you want to follow me, I am on social media. I am exclusively on Blue Sky, signed a agreement in perpetuity. You can find me at turtlebleeding.crap.town. I haven't posted, I don't think, recently, but again, that's free. You don't have to do anything to click on that and follow me. And yeah, that's all I got, John. Back to you.
Well, that's it for this week. Snoochie Boochie's Butthorn. We'll be back next week. I have no idea what we're talking about next week, but we'll be back to talk about it. So have a good one. Cheers.
Not this.
It's true. Nothing with a 3 at the end of it.
Bird season's over, Butthorn.
Why do they keep making me say Snoochie Boochies as he says it 5 minutes earlier in the movie in character?
Oh, we're gonna complain so much. Don't worry. So,
you ever cut yourself with a butter knife?
I don't think so.
Are you like, what a weird question to ask? I've cut myself with a butter knife.
Have you?
Yeah, it was not good. It's like
I've
a paper
burned
cut.
myself with a butter knife, but I haven't. I don't think I've cut myself. It's probably my own fault. I think I was
held it over and open
doing
flame.
something. Yeah, stuck it right on my arm. Said "fuck you." So anyway, it's like a paper cut.
Yeah, but it's thicker and like serrated, so it really hurts.
I think so.
Like cutting a bagel or something, and it like slipped and cut my finger. It sucked. It was not good. Not good. Wouldn't recommend. It stinks.
Did you still eat the bagel?
Oh yeah, probably.
No, just make it sure. So
yeah. No, I threw it out. Stupid bagel.
I didn't know if you bled all over it or something.
No. I don't think I got any blood on it.
Is it still a cut then? If you maim yourself with a butter knife, wouldn't you bleed?
It wasn't like I didn't get blood on the bagel, but I bled.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man. It's a bagel. I'm not going to throw that shit out. Save it at all costs.
April and the 3 can go fuck itself.